The Hierophant Archetype is the masculine extroverted expression of the same spiritual energy and wisdom that the High Priestess archetype of the second card embodies. This expression tends to be joyful while speaking passion about God out loud. This requires a high level of knowledge and experience with a particular spiritual lineage or philosophy. The archetype is associated with preaching and mentorship, both giving and receiving. While I embodied the Hierophant archetype, I was drawn to a deeper level of understanding of my spiritual perspective and relationship with God. I felt compelled to clarify and express my understanding of Pantheism, as I learned the details why it is the most accurate and useful spiritual perspective of the 21st century, and the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. I have written extensively on personal perspective on Pantheism. It is the belief that God is nature. There is no supernatural, miracles, or personals transcended God being. Pantheism is scientifically accurate and provides the believer with a holistic and environmental conscious expression of spiritual that strives to be in harmony with the earth and other sentient beings we share the planet with. One can be a pantheist without being a member of any religion, but there are religions that are pantheist, such as Taoism, Buddhism, Shinto, modern paganism, core shamanism, or neo-shamanism, and most Native American earth-based religions. Mythology Based Theist Religions such as Christianity are outdated and flawed. During this time I studies many religious and spiritual perspective. In particular, I spent time integrating Christianity, which is the dominant religious perspective of Western culture for the past 2,000 years. I reviewed the many known flaws and burdens of proof it cannot account for. It is not compatible with pantheism, as the claims are based on taking cultural mythology as historical truth, even though the Christian Bible was written many years after the events it talks about, has gone through many revisions and translations, is full of contradictions, has impossible miracles, involves blood magical rituals, and addresses very few of the issues we face today. Pantheism would be compatible with Christianity if Christianity allowed for its own teachings to be taken as metaphorical instead of true. Christianity as an allegorical mythology and one spiritual perspective among many would make Christianity a useful religion to be a follower of. There are religions that see Jesus Christ as one among many ascended masters, or use the term Christ consciousness, such as the Self-Realization Fellowship. But how Christianity views Jesus Christ as a literal and personal savior is inherently flawed, misleading and limiting in the 21st century. I found that the Christian perspective is unsuited for the future of humanity, as it exacerbates an infinite resource mindset that ignores the current issues of our time, while adding to the level of pollution and destruction we are currently experiencing on Earth. Christianity dumbs down spirituality and comforts the believer into accepted life as a gift from a loving Creator God who has supernatural powers and controls everything yet hides from our perception, and does not intervene in any measurable way. From the Christian perspective, the most important aspect of life is getting into a literal, eternally infinite heavenly afterlife, where all the current issues we face do not exist and do not matter. This takes responsibility away from the believer and puts it on a mythological and imaginary character who will clean up after them and make things right. This mindset may have worked okay for pre-industrial revolution times, but as we become more technologically advanced and resources become more limited, the perspective has become outdated, ignorant, and even destructive. A good example of this is to examine the diet of different spiritual groups and religions. Christianity provides almost no guidelines that make any sense for our current time, leaving Christians to tend to follow outdated ideas of the standard American diet, which promotes the ethical atrocity of industrial farming and environmental destruction caused by overfishing. This also leads to health decline and painful diseases that a Christian God provides no explanation, protection, or guidance for. While pantheism inherently teaches humans to eat a plant-based, as health science and vegan ideology is in perfect alignment with the concept the God is nature. This addresses a major issues of our current time. Pantheists live in harmony with nature and take scientific understanding to make holistic decisions on topics such as diet and modern ethical practices. Buddhism is a pantheistic religion that promotes vegetarianism as a spiritual practice to minimize suffering of sentient beings. I felt a desire to preach about the destructive flaws of Christianity out loud, because if more Christians became aware of the psychological, philosophical, scientific, and spiritual benefits of pantheism in comparison to Christianity, more people will strive to become in harmony with the earth and nature for many generations to come. The future of a Christian nation is a self-fulfilling apocalypse of environmental destruction and decay due to the logical flaws and delusional beliefs brought about by the inaccurate and outdated belief system. The bubble of illusion, illogical, and cult-like spiritual beliefs and religions can be seen as bubbles of illusion. The believers who are a member of the delusional group are within a bubble. All their fellow believers live in the bubble together, reinforcing the bubble's walls while rejecting any evidence of the walls. All those outside of the bubble can see the bubble that they are in. This bubble can act as an echo chamber, while people who believe the same thing get together to reinforce their beliefs. If a follower of a religion only reads books and listens to the preachers of their chosen religion, they may never become aware of the bubble walls. Everyone is susceptible to this, particularly through tribalism and indoctrination. This is why it's important to listen to many spiritual perspectives. If you are aware and study all religions on earth, you'll be able to see how mythology plays a role in all of them, in particularly the creation story. If you can see other religions' bubbles of illusion from the outside, you are more likely be able to identify when you are in one yourself. Christianity's rise and fall during the Age of Pisces in the last 2,000 years. I acknowledge that Christianity has contributed some benefits to society over the course of the past 2,000 years. While it was one of the most useful and accessible belief system of its time, it has helped so many people find moral guidance and inner peace. It has also allowed the believer to feel a personal relationship with the divine life force that flows through nature and living beings, by personifying it in a mythological human referred to as Jesus Christ. It has helped many people find community, talk about spiritual topics, find a level of healing from addiction and disconnection, while learning from a role model. Now that we have access to the internet, Christianity has become harder to believe in, because it is extraordinarily unlikely due to the scientific method, and the availability of information to compare Christianity to other religions and mythologies throughout human history. When Christianity is understood in the context of human nature, history, tribalism, political power, and sociology, it can be seen for what it is: a mythology suited for the culture and time period it was created. Christianity lines up perfectly with the astrological Age of Pisces. They both started approximately the same time and share the symbol of the fish. The exact date that Pisces ends is unclear, but due to the precessional rotation of the Earth, every astrological age lasts approximately 2160 years. This number can vary by up to 200 years every astrological age, because it depending on the unique size of the constellation, from the perspective of the Earth. Some constellations are bigger than others, so they take longer. The astrological age we are moving into is the Age of Aquarius. An age perfectly suited for pantheism, New Age spirituality, higher awareness, environmentalism, and access to the internet.